Hi, I'm Mark Dice, and welcome back to Let's Play Lord of the Rings Two Towers. Let's talk about other media. Let's talk about radio. My old roommate used to listen to radio in the car, and that's probably the most radio I ever listened to. Or we occasionally, when Delirious and I are making long trips, we'll turn on the radio and listen to like local stations. But I think radio, in my opinion, is pretty much extinct, except for obnoxious talk radio with like some crazy liberal or some crazy right-wing person ranting their crazy beliefs about what will work, but more squirrels. But in my opinion, radio is just dead. It's like when there's things like Pandora and, you know, the fact that you can just get stuff on iTunes, put it on like a CD, and listen to it in your car, and actually listen to the music you want to listen to. Because, I mean, I listen to obtuse stuff. I listen to a lot of like video game music, a lot of like strange metal and J-pop stuff, and I'm kind of all over the place. And like, most of the time, radio is rap music. Like, I don't like rap music. I'm not a big fan. Like, if it's on, I usually turn the radio off, if I'm ever listening to radio, which I'm really not. And most people I know hate it because, like, in Philadelphia, there's, like, not even, like, an oldies station to play, like, you know, old metal music or even pop music. So, pretty much all it's left down to is, like, annoying rap stations. And it's weird because with the advent of the internet, music is so easy to get, you know, legally. You can just listen to Pandora, listen to, like, maybe one commercial every 7 songs, or you listen to the radio where it's, like, one song, and then it's, like, 7 commercials, because they actually have a physical place they need to maintain, versus, like, a server with minimal maintenance requirements. So, I don't know. For me, it just seems weird. Oh, that's kind of nice, but I don't know if it's better than what I have. Yeah, it's garbage. So, I don't know. I just feel like that kind of stuff is pretty much extinct. Oh, that's nice. I'll take that. That's +1 strength. I can get rid of this crappy medallion. Wrong button. So, I don't know, I just feel like... Ugh. One more. All garbage. I just feel like it's kind of futile to listen to. I should just save state the armor. Or the random boxes. So... I don't know. And, like, there's such a growing prevalence of rap stations and annoying, like, preachy Christian stations and talk radio. And those are all things I don't really care about or care to listen to. Like, don't care about your beliefs. Don't care about your terrible, untalented music. Like, ugh. Like, I don't know. It's just one of those things that... as it's dying, they're just trying to do anything to, like, hook people in, and for me personally, it puts me off more than anything. So, I don't know. Like, and not to mention there's, like, the whole RSS, like, feeds that you can get that are much more interesting 9 times out of 10 than anything you can hear on the radio, even if it's opinion, because most of it is, like, someone's random opinion, or you can just, like, you know, make your own RSS feed and then listen to it, and you can put hours of, you know, music or whatever you want on it. And sure, there's probably, like, limitations on what you can put up, but not really. I mean, one of my buddies has an internet radio RSS, and he puts all sorts of music on there, and he's never gotten flagged once, like, by any group saying, like, you can't put our music up without you know, this, and this. I mean, he has his own pirate radio station, and it's really kind of funny because he really just doesn't care, and he like listens to it at work because his work's not far away from his house. But he just broadcasts it from his computer, and he like barely has to maintain it. So if he's like within like about 5 miles from his house, he can listen to it whenever he wants. It's just an awkward bandwidth, so like most people wouldn't be able to figure out what it was, or it'd be strange. But all of our friends know about it, and we listen to it. I'm not a big fan of a lot of the stuff he listens to, but still, it's like, it's sad that someone has a pirate radio station that's better than anything that's on the actual radio stations. And also, it's kind of frightening because in the area, he's the only one that has any kind of interesting metal pop stuff. Like, a lot of people I know are like, what the hell, man? There's not even like something like Green Day on the radio. And like, you know, a band like that, everybody's heard like 1,000,001 times. But like, it's weird to not think of them on a broadcast. Like, it's just strange. And since there's like no more stations like that, it's one of those things that like, there's obviously a demand. If people are making like pirate radio stations, obviously there's a demand, but I just think they don't care. And also, like, the censorship on the radio is absurd. Like, you can have some crazy right-wing guy talking about how, you know, African Americans are all criminals and they need to be put into prisons or whatever, and like, you know, Mexicans need to be like detained and like tortured until they find out if they're legal citizens or not. But you can't have someone say like shit on the radio. Like, I just think it's amazingly astounding. I mean, you can have Howard Stern, who talks about like the dirtiest stuff alive, but you can't even say something like "goddamn" in a song without them censoring it. And it's just like, why? Like, at this point, I think everybody in America should be mature enough to hear a curse word. I know there are whole groups devoted to banning curse words and finding like even crazy shit like biblical proof that you shouldn't curse. But like, it just astounds me that people would really care that much. Like, if you have a radio station that has like a warning on it, or like some sort of lock so your kids can't be tempted by that terrible music, I prefer responsible parental settings and being able to listen to whatever the F you want on, you know, your radio. But they don't give you that option. Instead, groups, you know, take it away from you without even asking whether people would want it any other way. They'd rather just ban something outright than deal with, you know, having to actually get parents to monitor their own children. And it's not even about the children. Let's face facts here. Most kids these days with internet, and I said kids these days, jeez, sound like an old man. But even when I was a kid, I knew most of the basic curse words, what they meant and what they were for. And I still had people that were like, "Uh-oh, don't say a swear word around him." It's like, you really undercredit people here. And like, it's not like, oh, I need the cursing in music. It's just, it sounds silly and babyish, in my opinion. Like, it just, I don't know. It's like childish. Like, you can't say anything about my dead mom because that's not funny. And it's like, oh, well, who cares? You know, get over it. I didn't mean to use that example. That was a terrible example. But it's one of those things where I think that there are some people out there that are so immature that they can't deal with stuff like that the responsible way. And frankly, I'm all for, if you don't like it, then don't listen to it. Like, some people seem to like go out of their way and torture themselves. It's amazing how like awkwardly censored things get from time to time, and like how really, despite America being an in-quote free country, how really goddamn crude it is. I mean, I recently had a friend that got flagged because she posted a a thing online about, you know, stop slut-shaming people, like, female nudity is not sexuality, like, they're two separate things, like, don't mix them up. And, you know, it's like, you can't see breasts on TV, but you can go anywhere on the internet and people love it. And I think that there's this, like, over-sexualization, but she got flagged either way for having, you know, nudity in her post, and somebody complained. Like, seriously, if you can't look at a pair of boobs without having to, like, flag somebody, there is something wrong with you. Like, not, like, normal wrong. Like, there's something severely wrong with you. Like, you missed an important step in maturity. And I can't fathom it, really. Like, I don't know. I just think the whole deal is kind of strange. And I just, like, if you really take the time to flag somebody over something so small, it's kind of strange. Like, why would you, like, care about it, really? I don't know. I just think it's strange why you would put so much effort into... Put so much effort into getting rid of something you don't like, when really your best idea is just to not look at it. I mean, let's just be forward about this. It's kind of silly. Okay, let's see. Parry or kill? Let's put points into that. I like that. So there are 8 levels to it. Unless it goes up by certain... I don't know how this is working. Because I put 5 points into this. Hopefully it isn't like wasted points or something. But anyway, I don't know. I've never understood the need for being like, oh no, there are breasts. Or over-sexualizing them. I mean, I can't fathom it. And why people feel like it's a need to tell other people what they can and can't look at is just strange to me. Oh, that's nice. They put little splashes for your feet. Like, it's the same thing in, like, video games. Like, nudity in video games gets a much more harsh rating than it does in movies. And I don't understand why. Like, a lot of people made a big stink about God of War, but God of War got away with nudity, but then, like, Rockstar got, like, absolutely, like, demonized for having a bit of fragmented code inside of it. Like, I think that people, I would say, have too much time on their hands and have ranger shoes. I'll equip those. And when it comes down to it, like, and you finally accomplish that, like, you're not doing it because you actually hate the thing. You're doing it mostly because you hate the original. Like, the reason why God of War didn't get pegged is because it's not like like it is a vulgar game in terms of what is vulgarity, but it's less plausible, and people didn't already hop on a bandwagon to hate it. So I guess the same thing with, like, people in Pokemon and devil worshipping. Like, they didn't say that for, you know, all the other series like Yu-Gi-Oh! And stuff like that. They seem to evade that, but they pick Pokemon because it's one of the most popular. And they pick it because they don't like some aspect of it. And it has nothing to do with, like, actual content. It has everything to do with control and preventing certain things from being made public. I mean, Rockstar is just, or Grand Theft Auto and a lot of Rockstar games are just mental masturbation. And, like, people made a big stink about Manhunt and some other Rockstar games, but there are other games that are much worse. And they just ignore it because it's not a big thing. It's not, like, huge. Like, you know, Grand Theft Auto was. So, how much of this is intentional and how much of it is just people who don't know anything about the genre and want to get rid of it? I'm gonna wait until I get that. Actually, you know what? I should have saves. I think it's Shift F1. I'm just gonna try to do something with this. But I think that it's an agenda base, and it has nothing to do with actually, you know, not liking something. It's more about an agenda to get something removed that they don't like because they're fucking babies and can't deal with the real world, and they need someone else to tell them what they can and can't do. Stupid. I might equip those. That actually isn't a bad haul, so I'll probably just keep this stuff. But recently someone online had made a post that I thought was rather... Wait, is this the same thing I already have? Fuck that, I'm gonna load. Yeah, because I like those better. I'm gonna try one more time. I don't... Is it the same stuff? It is! You son of a bitch. I don't like people that mask issues and try to do something else. And recently someone did a post that just bothered me. Did a post in a forum about it, and it just bothered me because it was like, why? Like, you're not complaining about what you actually don't like. You're using it as an agenda tool to say something else. And, like, people always seem to think that, like, a naked woman equivalent is the equivalent, or, like, even a scantily dressed woman is the equivalent of sexuality, and that it's inappropriate, or that as a woman you should instantly be offended by it, which I think is just a preposterous statement. I don't understand it. Okay, that puts up my spirit. Good, I'm putting that shit up. And I can't fathom it, really. I like... And the worst part is when it's perpetrated by women. And women should be the first people to, you know, stand up for this kind of thing where you're saying, like, okay, well, a woman should be, you know, proud of her body, proud of her nudity, instead of saying, like, these women should be covering up. And yeah, there are times when it seems like it's almost exploitative, but then on the other hand, they don't focus on the fact that, like, half of the men in video games are, like, these super muscle guys who, you know, are attractive and suave and can do these things, and, like, women seem to, like, look the other way when it comes to that. And then they talk about, like, oh my god, this guy in this anime, video game, whatever, is so sexy. But then they say, like, ugh, I can't believe this woman is so over-sexualized. And it's like, what the like, get your priorities straight. Like, either you be fair and balanced, or you just shut up. Like, I'm sick of the argument of, you know, sexism in video games and whatever. It's just, it's such a tiring subject because half the people don't know what they're talking about, and the other half have an agenda. And, I mean, I don't really have, like a true agenda, and I'm not trying to see, like, I need the sexy girls, because otherwise I don't want to play the games. I could care less what the woman looks like. I could care less if it's a guy or a girl. Like, I understand for some games, like people complaining about Minecraft not having a female character. There are a lot of girl gamers, and female avatars are, you know, I know some guys that prefer playing with female avatars because they like looking at a woman instead of looking at, like, a guy's ass the entire time. But, like, even some women, they would be like, oh, I dressed my character up all cute, and they look kind of, like, cute, and in some people's eyes, they look kind of slutty. But that's all an opinion-based thing, and it's weird to say, like, this is a coherent problem. like, I picked this, you know, like, this is my sexy class character or whatever, and then they're like, you know, don't look at it, or I think it's offensive that this is the only choice I got, or it's ridiculous. Like, stop saying things are, you know, generally sexist when you pick that. Like, I don't know. Again, it's like, if you don't like it, then don't do it. Like, if you're a girl playing online, you don't have to play a girl character. Like, I don't have to play a male character. I can play a female character if I want. I mean, Windows. I just don't understand why they're, like, it's, like, whining about it or trying to make, like, some sexist point about it. And that's not really the case. Yeah, I don't know. It's just silliness. I mean, there's lots of cases of women being over-sexualized in games and stuff like that. But you also have to consider that, you know, women fighters and stuff, like, other than a few notable examples like Zenobia, there's no real case for women in history fighting. There really isn't much. So when you look back at that, you say, okay, well, what kind of armor would they wear? I mean, men mostly wore scant armor, but does it mean that they were sexualized? No, it meant they were usually using something so they could be that crazy motherfucker in a freaking cod piece that could swing an axe faster than the heavily armored person could, and could get in a kill. But we know, we have a lot of understanding of what people wore as armor and the way they look. So why is it like when we dress women up in what would be like a fantasy armor, because we don't have a basis for comparison, why would it suddenly become a sexist issue? Like, there are plenty of conservative, you know, female attire in video games if you look in the right video games. And I just think it's ridiculous to just blame the industry as a whole instead of, you know, really looking at what the problem is, or putting yourself somewhere else where you don't have to worry about this. I just think it's a taxing waste of time to fight up against it. Like, I don't know. Most women I know who play video games don't care really what the female character looks like. They care more, like, if they're cute, yeah, they like the outfit, or if they have interesting looking outfits. And it's not just made as, like, a creepy, like, a guy should fap to this kind of thing. It's more like their personality, like how they're portrayed in game, like, you know, those things are usually more important than, you know, if their outfit looks slutty or not. I mean, if they look ridiculous where it's like humongous double D breasts in, like, you know, like nipple cover armor, I can understand a little bit. But, like, very rare is the case for that. I mean, that's like dead or alive. And most of that stuff is slowly disappearing. And it's not because there's a change in sexism. It's a change in the fact that, like, people have been seeing more women playing video games, so they make not more modest, but ones that are more appealing to the woman, to, like, a female eye, so that way they're not like just these kind of, like, how Japanese games have, where most of the women are stereotypes of what men should be attracted to. And I think that that's a different question than saying, like, why is there such sexism in these video games? Why do women all wear these crappy armor and stuff? And it's just, it almost gives me, like, a headache listening to this kind of stuff. 5 to 11. No, I can. 5 to 11 is nice, but 4 to 9 is +1 defense is probably better. So, I don't know. Basically what it comes down to is the fact that if you're sexualizing a character that way, that's your head. That's not everybody's opinion on it. Like, if I see a female character in video games, I don't assume she's over-sexualized. I just think that it's prude to be like, oh my god, she shows her stomach, that's just too much, and that's sexist. Like, come on now. Like, if I looked like guys in a lot of video games, I would certainly wear outfits like they wear, but I don't, so, you know, I'm not going to wear their outfits. And a lot of it seems more like it's just envy. that they're envious that these women can wear these outfits and not do it. And I'm not saying that that's like a blanket statement. I'm just saying that a lot of people who go out of their way to complain about it is that it's more like a self-confidence thing. And I don't know, just there is a line where there's, you know, characters that are absolutely absurd, like Lara Croft in Tomb Raider. But the weird thing is that Lara Croft in Tomb Raider is like super hussy dressed with like humongous knockers and a frame that nobody could ever have. But yet a lot of women seem to love Lara Croft. I know at least 3 or 4 girls that are gamer girls that like the way Lara Croft looks. And that's just weird, you know? But then like, you know, some more fantasy looking girl is like not acceptable, or like less appealing to them, which I think is just kind of strange. I don't understand the dichotomy of that. Damn you, bird. So it might just be me, but I don't know, this whole like over-sexualizing and then being so modest about it that like, you know, oh, that woman looks like she's dressed like a slut. It's just, I guess it's reinforcing a bad stereotype of it. Like, I know a girl that wears some pretty alluring clothing, and she can do it because she feels confident doing it, and she doesn't do it to be slutty. She's married. Like, she's been through that, and it's not like she needs the attention. She's some desperate person. It's, she literally likes what she likes to wear, and she thinks everybody else can piss off. And that's fine. That shows that she has confidence, and it's not just like arrogance about the situation. But her opinion on characters in video games is always, I wish I could wear that. And I think that goes back to a lot of, again, a kind of social stigma that's set up that's a very poor stigma. I mean, really, it's left over from Puritan times, and it's one of those things that we, as people, need to just get over. I mean, I can't understand, like, the prude modesty with the stuff, and then, on top of that, blaming other people for it, or trying to blame something on it by reinforcing it. Just kind of crazy, in my mind. I think, for me, it always comes down to, like, that, you know, not to sound mean about it, but the whole, like, women logic, like, pluck out eyebrows, draw on new eyebrows. Like, it's illogical, it's silly. Wherever you were, I killed you fast. Oh, you're not dead. Oh, that's kind of nice. It starts me off here at the beginning. Oh, I gotta fight through all these chumps again. But, I don't know. I'm not one for reinforcing stereotypes or anything like that. Did I get to keep all my stuff? Yeah, I think I just sold stuff, so... Yeah, that's weird. Do I have, like, lives or anything, or is it just, like... No, I guess it just starts you off again. That's kind of nice. So, I don't know. I mean, there's a huge, massive male stereotype of, you know, these kind of, in quote, male role models that really are kind of terrible. But, like, men won't make a lot of steps to complain about it, and, like, if, in some ways, if women were drooling all over these, you know, video game characters or whatever, maybe I could see them being, like, men being a little more salty about it, but, well, obviously I can't use it. But I don't think it's sexism anymore. It's... I think there's just a lot more... Like, I've been seeing a lot more, like, kind of, I guess, cutesy stuff is the best way to put it, without sounding, like, awkward, for female character design in games. And I think that it helps that, you know, the media itself has been growing so much that the media itself is kind of amplifying or getting better people that know what they're doing and know how to make a character look good or presentable, instead of just making, you know, generic, you know, woman with her breasts hanging out. So, I don't know. I mean, I've always been kind of annoyed with these kind of, like, male stereotypes, especially Japanese games, where it's like man does not understand love, woman knows everything, like woman must teach man to like love or use common sense, and that men are these crazy reckless people. And I think it's, I don't know, I find it kind of annoying in some lights. Like, it depends on the character. If I like the character and it seems like they've actually got their head together elsewhere, I'm fine with it. Fuck. Oh, get out of here. He only hit me once. But sometimes it doesn't feel like it's a natural person, or it just sounds so like a guy would never say that. Please stop saying that. So, I don't know. It's either like they're totally badass, or they're totally like, I don't know what to do. And also I read like a freaking forum comment about someone complaining about like not to do with all dragons, Suikoden, whatever you want to call it, LP, but someone made a complaint about a character that they thought was gay in a video game, and they were like incensed that they would put a gay person in a video game. And that's weird. Is it just like, oh, video games are only for straight men? I don't think so. Trust me. I know a lot of gay men that played a lot of Parappa the Rappa, so don't even give me that. And, you know, it's strange to me why someone would really care. I mean, it's not like the character's like, you have to sit through like a 10-minute cutscene of gay sex. It's like, it's a character that's a little flamboyant. I mean, come on now. Freaking Tingle in whatever Legend of Zelda is. That guy's like a whole bunch of creepy child molester thing going on. But nobody seems to notice or really care that much. But like, if you put a seriously gay character, like if you came out with like a Final Fantasy with an outright gay character, I'm sure somebody would complain. But I just think it's overall weird, like why should they be excluded from games? I don't know. I guess it's just me, it's just one of those things I think that's rather odd. And I really need to kill this boss because he's really pissing me off. Actually did pretty well last time. But let's just let our magic points regenerate. But and then like you go back to TV and stuff like that. Like, I remember it was before the internet. It was like a struggle to see titties on late night. Like, if I wanted to see that, it wasn't there, or I'd have to watch a horror movie. And I guess that's why I love horror movies. But it's one of those strange things that I can't. Like, today, I could, you know, in 5 minutes see it. But back then, it was always a little more difficult, before the advent of the internet. So, now TV hasn't caught up to the fact that the internet is like 90% porn. And I'm not saying that TV should just slowly devolve into porn. I'm just saying that, like, you can let some things slide. We're all grown-ups here. I mean, hopefully we're all grown-ups. I mean, granted, we live in, well, at least I live in a country where, you know, they create these laws based on personal ideals that is not at all relevant to actually helping anybody or doing anything productive for society. It's just because that's the way they feel. That has to be enforced right away. And I don't know, I just always found that a little strange. So... this game is like perfect to rant to, because I barely have to focus on it. Whoa! Okay. Circle strafe. So you can't hit me. Circle strafe. That's probably all you do with Legolas. Run around in a circle shooting people with bows. But I don't know. I just... media in general, half of it's actually evolved and been able to, you know, keep up with the times, while some of it is just, it's still living in this idyllic 1950s like world where, you know, like, oh no, like, I mean, think about how long it took before you could show like a couple getting into the same bed. Like, I think it was, what, like, the Brady Bunch was, like, one of the first ones where they were like, oh my god. And I don't even remember if they did or not. But, like, the problem is that this modesty is what's driving these kind of sad stereotypes. I mean, come on now. A lot of people still think that, like, people who play... that was creepy. He, like, crawled for a second before he died. People seem to have this idea that all video game players are these fat losers. But, like, you have a lot of famous people who play video games regularly who aren't, you know, these weird neck-bearded basement trolls. And at one point they probably were. But I don't know. I think that essentially the new attractive celebrity is just attractive video game players. I mean, you have, what's her name? Laura Day? Something like that? I don't remember. And Will Wheaton. Wheaton! But, you see those kind of people, and suddenly the idea is still sticking, where people think that they're all, like, basement-dwelling losers that do it. But, like, most people play it now. I mean, it's just, it's weird. I don't know, and in some ways I guess I feel that media is still struggling to catch up. Especially when it's paid for, because they don't know what's, in quotes, safe and what's not safe. So, I don't know. I'm gonna get some more gems. So, I don't know. I have no idea where I'm supposed to be going. I'm getting Boromired. I don't know, I've ranted about a lot of subjects in this LP, just because this gameplay is like, it's exciting enough, but probably not that exciting to watch. B, go to menu. Press R to pick stuff up. The other thing that I think is weird is that, you know, people always talk about, you know, these big mega $1 million studios losing money and not doing well because of piracy or whatever, when it's really not the case. Like, I don't think piracy is affecting Hollywood's budgets. I think the fact that too many people are getting paid too much money to do something and spending too much time on putting money into these people instead of putting it into something of value. Like, I just saw a movie recently called The Wild Hunt, which was a really, like, low-budget movie, but it was really strange. And it was actually really good. And I don't understand why... why I would go see, you know, a movie like Fast 5 that has little to no content or interest, instead of just going I would rather watch The Wild Hunt 2 or 3 times. I mean, a great movie that I watched recently was Troll Hunter, and that was better, 9 times better than even movies like Cloverfield that came out in America. Like, so I don't understand why Hollywood and these people are still focusing on these. Aragorn, please stop dying. Alright, so I guess I do go this way. So I guess what it comes down to is it's not that they're out of ideas, it's just that they refuse to make good ideas. And they make bad decisions with their money, like paying Vin Diesel more money to pseudo-act. And, you know, making, like, you know, another freaking Sex and the City movie that nobody cared to see. And apparently was goddamn terrible. As opposed to maybe trying something new. Maybe not make a remake. Because there's only so many remakes I can watch before I feel like I'm going to throw up in my own mouth. And the worst part is when they ruin remakes. Or, in quote, Americanize it. Like all those girls with Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest and all that stuff, where they're just like, let's just, fuck it, let's change the story. Fuck it, let's use American actors. Let's get rid of this part, because we don't think American audiences will like it, even though they've already seen the foreign version, which was really good. So, you know, when you talk about it as piracy, like, piracy is a very different thing. I mean, technically you're talking about illegal copies, which is not technically piracy. It's basically it's copying and pasting. It's like stealing something, but it's still there. So I can't understand why they're losing money, but they want to blame other people for their own bad decisions. Ooh, pot helm. Yep, equip it. Sweet. So, I don't know. It's like spending all your money on, like, Cheetos and then blaming the economy for making Cheetos so expensive. Like, you made a bad decision in the first place, but you're blaming other people for your stupid-ass mistake. So, I don't know. And it's not even, like, what they're bringing to the table is bad. It's also, like, they're like, oh, movie budgets are so expensive. Then how come, you know, like, unfortunately, George Romero didn't make much money off of it, but George Romero made a cult hit film that's probably been watched all around the world and is... Do we need to go down here? That is probably one of the most iconic horror films ever to come out. And he did it for next to nothing on a shoestring budget, you know? Like, it's crazy that we're spending this much money on movies that aren't that good to begin with, and they're paying a goddamn fortune to make. What the? This level, it's purgatory. I don't understand who they're buying from to make it this expensive. Maybe they should just move to, like, Philadelphia or New Jersey, or move to some other state where it's probably cheaper. And maybe instead of hiring these absurd actors who, you know, need millions to spend on their condo, maybe if you just hired some independent actors that have trouble even making rent, then they'd probably appreciate the food cart more than Sarah Jessica Parker being like, ugh, they didn't get fine caviar. God. Ugh, they didn't give me my vegan tofu sandwich. Take all this food back, throw it in the dumpster instead of giving it to me. Like, it's just, you know, it's bad ideas, and they need to learn how to, you know, cut corners. And not like, oh, we'll just do this scene with special effects that we'll cheaply manufacture in Korea. Or we have this Chinese firm that can draw and, like, do all this computer work. No. When your budget for your actors costs more than the whole of your special effects, you need to stop. I mean, come on now. Like, a lot of the people in Lord of the Rings were, like, famous to an extent. Like, they had done stuff before, but they weren't, like, you know, huge Hollywood, high-budget actors. You know, if Peter Jackson had, had paid, you know, freaking, like, $30 million per actor or some crazy number like that, then it would have never gotten made, or it would have been, like, cut short. It would have been, like, 1 2.5 hour movie that's full of stars that have to get their certain amount of screen time, and that's it. Like, forget the plot, forget special effects. We're spending all of our money on paying for these actors. I don't know. It's just, it's absurd and makes me not want to watch movies. But I'll continue ranting about stuff in the next episode of Let's Play Lord of the Rings Two Towers with me, Morak Dias. See you later.